Hello and welcome back to the next episode on For the Religions of the World class. This time is on Shinto. I needed to take a little ride today to Branchbrook Park to see if the cherry blossoms are out already. In Japan, the cherry blossoms are a big deal. They're called Sakura, and it's connected with a festival called the Hanami Festival. There is a century-old custom that people would come out into the parks and celebrate and drink sake together under the sakura trees. It's a custom that goes back to the Nara period. If you watched our video from the trip to Japan, you will notice the section on Nara, which was prominent between 710 and 794 in Japanese history. Nara at that point was the center of power, and with its many cherry trees, the festival and the devotions began. The celebration of the Sakura began in Nara when Buddhism entered Japan, and it is Buddhist tradition. The Sakura symbolizes the clouds because they're all blooming all at once. And they're ephemeral in nature. We come out here, we can see them bloom maybe for a week or two, and then they're gone. Today in Japan you will really find 4 different religions. Buddhism has a strong influence since the Nara period. Taoism and Confucianism are important in Japan, but what's really indigenous and original in Japan is Shinto. Shinto is an ancient tradition in Japan, and it's really doesn't have a fixed doctrine. It's not that you have to believe something. It's more of a practice of tradition, of life in this world. It's a religion of purity, believing that humanity is, or people are pure. However, we do get soiled here through the things that come into our minds, the things that affect us, maybe just like the coronavirus right now. Are impurities, and we do have the need to cleanse ourselves regularly. One thing that you will notice when you walk through Japan is that you see these gates all the time. Oftentimes they're painted red, sometimes just out of wood. They're called torii, and those are the gates that separate the busy world of our everyday life from the quietness and purity of the shrine inside where a kami is venerated. It is also a religion of festivals. You will have all sorts of traditions of festivals all over the country. The central idea in Shinto is of the kami. That's what Shinto actually means. The way of the gods. But kami is a spirit, or also a path, a way, maybe like the Tao in Confucianism and Taoism in China. The kami is the path and the connection to the main kami in the great heavens. And so there are spirits or kamis everywhere in Japan, in every nature part, in mountains, in trees, in rivers, like the one that we see down there, the Branchbrook here in Newark. But kami can also be a person living or from the past, like an emperor or a very wise and venerated person. They could also be kami. Kami is not always friendly. Kami is just a spirit that dwells someplace. And if people want to live in peace and harmony, it would be a good idea to be in harmony with that kami. And therefore, you will find shrines everywhere that honor and venerate a certain kami. Kami can be found in many places in nature. Japan is a beautiful country with lots of mountains and oceans and water, and so in every little nook and cranny you might find a kami, and therefore a shrine. Shrine can be large, big imperial shrines like Meiji Jingu in Tokyo, for example. While most kamis are local, but you can also find kami just in little rock formations, just a little shrine on the side of the road that nobody pays attention to, but there is a shrine with a small torii that separates the mundane world from the purity of the shrine. There are also nationally important kamis. Their stories have been recorded in the Kojiki that was put together in 712 CE, also during the Nara period, and the Nihon Shoki 720 CE as well during Nara period. And in those stories, we hear the mythological beginning of the creation of the world with two kamis that were ordered by the high kami in the heavens, sent to create the world of Japan. It is a brother and sister pair, Izanagi and Izanami. If you had a chance to watch the myth of Izanagi and Izanami, you will also know that in the end, another very important kami, Amaterasu, was born from Izanagi's left eye. Amaterasu is the kami that is symbolizing the emperor of Japan and the visible kami of Amaterasu. And therefore, until World War II, the emperors of Japan were venerated as gods. Only after World War II, when the emperor at the time abdicated his role as a kami, the world changed in Japan and it became the modern society that it is today. There's a story that Amaterasu could sometimes be very moody. One day in a village, the people that were there were getting on Amaterasu's nerves so much that she decided to hide herself in a cave. Of course, when the sun goddess, the kami, hides herself in the cave, all of a sudden everything was dark. And the villagers were worried about how they're going to survive without Amaterasu bringing sunlight onto their world. They tried everything. They tried to pry open the cave in which she had hidden herself, but nothing helped, until they finally had an idea. Somebody said, let's build a bird perch, and let's put all the roosters of the town on top of the perch. And so they did. It is a perch like the torii. And they had all the birds on top of all the roosters. And when they started crowing, there was such a noise that Amaterasu was wondering what the heck is going on there. And so she started to slowly move that rock away a little bit to see what was going on. And as soon as she peeked out, the villagers had some sumo wrestlers ready to push. And they pushed the stone away and out came Amaterasu again. And so when you enter a shrine, you first have to purify yourself. And now we have Jess doing the cleaning, the cleansing. The left hand first. Then comes the right hand. And then comes a little bit of rinsing. And now Jess is clean to go into the shrine. There she is.
Reinke sensei is doing his cleansing before going into the shrine. Left, right.
Time to do this.
Left.
This must be a Hatsei.
Hatsumode.
Yes.
This is your Hatsumode.
And that's it. Now I'm clean.
Yay!
Now I'm pure. Now we are entering Meiji Jingu. Here we are entering it. And Jess is doing the bow. She's going on the side of the torii because therefore she's not bumping into any gods walking in the middle. And here is the prayer hall. And so that's the story of Shinto. a beautiful nature religion in Japan. Until I see you the next time when we talk about Zoroastrianism, I wish you well.